While everything was down and we were waiting to re-establish contact with scouts for 43 and 074, we were able to get a report from a transport that had been dispatched to the Tower 59 location to set up staging for the investigation. The Guardians on the scene confirmed that it was a static cutter that was being used and, upon first glance, it looked as if it had been destroyed intentionally. If that turned out to be proven true, then it was likely that Scout 074 had flown too close to the scene and caught the saboteurs' attention somehow. It would probably be half a spin or so before they had more conclusive findings. We still had contact with the catch line, which was now composed of 3 jumpers and 4 scouts, spread out at maximum line of sight. Because of the fickle nature of our monitoring technology, mostly due to atmospheric anomalies, line of sight is something we implement in every situation, whenever possible. Ghost whispering on the comms and positional echoes on the trackers can be very confusing. Some impressions are several particks delayed, or even sometimes repeated. The eyes don't lie, so at least getting a visual fix helps confirm proximation. For us, getting eyes on things is the first priority whenever it is possible, which is why my workpad is situated in a way that allows me almost full range view of the area around and above the Endeavour. We actually have assigned posts for a condition we call all eyes out, where half of the crew takes position and we can see almost a complete sphere around the ship. The catch line we had assembled further west down on the Razorstone Pass still had no communication or tracking input. Near as I could tell from the progress estimators, the chase should have been reaching that line at any time, or at least be coming into visual range. I checked with my other 2 navigators and with Dana in communications, and they confirmed my calculations. It had been over 3 parts now since we lost contact with the scouts pursing the UC, as well as any tracking data as well. This was odd, and it was starting to feel like they had simply vanished. But that was a ridiculous notion. And soon, everything would become much clearer when we first began receiving a garbled string of communications. Though the messages were incoherent, we were able to get a rough location ping on them. The reason why we could hear them again is that they were clearing the south ridge of the pass and the chase had now broken into the Expanse region. We immediately shifted our focus to support resources down there, when are much greater than they are in the overlands. Scout 443 reported to be at 15%, which is 5 points below the safety threshold, so they broke off as other scouts in that region of the Expanse began to close in. Scout 074 continued the pursuit, and was soon joined by scouts from 2 other directions, as they attempted to maneuver into a position to try and force the UC down. Our ships don't carry mounted weapons, and while Guardians do have military-level training, we are outfitted primarily for civil assistance, and only light peacekeeping. But this wasn't a petty theft or property dispute. This was either treason, an act of war, or both. Our Guardian commander on board the Endeavour is a man named Barris. He and I have had our moments in the past, but he is a level-headed thinker and a solid leader. He is also one of the higher-ranking Guardians who isn't convinced that the Guardians were a good idea to begin with. Several people in our ranks who came from military backgrounds still believe that there should be a line between civil and sovereign protection. While I don't necessarily disagree with them entirely, I think that the Guardians were a good idea during a time when everything a colonist looked at was a potential threat. We needed something that would at least symbolize the inherent protections that members of a long-established society generally take for granted. There is something intimidating to many people about figures of authority. In your world, it seems that many people find the police more disconcerting than soldiers. What I and other leaders believed was that we needed a new face altogether. In terms that you will likely understand better, but may also find amusing, as a comparison we needed something like your Peace Corps, but with some guns in the back, just in case. I knew it was likely that Barris would be having a disagreement or 2 on how to proceed as events played out and investigations uncovered more of the mystery. But any chances of gaining significant progress on solving that mystery died along with the operator of the UC when it crashed trying to pull up from a canyon wall. Now we had 5 scenes to cover, and still no closer to who or what was behind all of it.